We left Fort Lauderdale not knowing if we would love or hate the Intercoastal Waterway. The closest thing we had come to this type of cruising was when we sailed up the Chagres River in Panama, and when we crossed over the bar in Bahia Del Sol in El Salvador, and of course when we crossed the Panama Canal. But this was different. This was America, and this was the Intercoastal Waterway, or the ICW as it's known to all the sailors. The over 1,000 mile long Intercoastal Waterway starts in Miami and ends in Chesapeake Bay. But we started from Fort Lauderdale and we were looking forward to going under 137 bridges with over 80 of them movable and 2 locks just for good measure. Our mast is 60 feet, so we'll be able to clear all the taller bridges with around 2 to 4 feet to spare, depending on the tides. Okay, you're wondering why the shorts. Well, the next thing to break was my laptop. It just died. It had been acting funny for a while, especially after Boss decided to use my laptop's keyboard as a scratching board. But those are the breaks when you have a cat. This is why all the footage of the ICW was in short form. It was just easy to load up using my iPhone and keeping the channel going. Anyways, moving on. We'll have to fight crosswinds, dredging equipment blocking the canal, closures, and shoaling. Shoaling is when the bottom sludge builds up, making some passages more shallow and challenging. As some sailors have noted, if you haven't bottomed out at least once, you're not doing it right. We'll be using Bob's Cruising Guide 423 that we've downloaded from his website and put into our Navionics. This gives you a run line to follow to get around shoaling and is the Bible of charts for the ICW. Bob's Cruising Guide is also on Facebook, so you can keep up to date on shoaling as well as other obstacles such as floating trees, drifting boats, and general mayhem. We'll also have our radar, but we didn't really use much of the radar when we had it on board. The Intercoastal Waterway began as a series of natural rivers, bays, and small canals used for trade and transportation in the 1800s. Over time, the US government and the United States Army Corps of Engineers expanded and connected these waterways into a protected inland route for commercial and military use. The Atlantic section of the ICW was largely completed and connected by the 1940s, becoming especially important during World War II for safer coastal shipping away from German submarines. Sailors today use it to avoid bad weather from the Atlantic and, of course, the Gulf Stream. We're taking it north to enjoy calm anchorages and relaxed sailing, or so we thought. We're looking forward to videoing our trip, but as noted in the previous video, our GoPro broke. To add to the complications, my laptop broke, so I wasn't able to edit the videos. This is when I truly discovered YouTube Shorts, and thus why I'm using YouTube Shorts for this video. Alright, let's get started. We anchored in a tight anchorage for free at Lake Sylvia. We stayed for a week annoying the multi-million-dollar homes while we provisioned and bought boat parts at the numerous chandlers in town. Luckily, I had a good friend cruising, and he decided to stay at the marina nearby and let us park our tender by his boat. Big up to Wanderer. It was hard to leave Fort Lauderdale, but time was pressing for us to get to Deltaville to haul out and fly back to Canada. We pulled anchor and away we went, excited about the ICW because we had a great trip planned. It was going to take about 40 days trying to cover around 30 miles a day. The first few days sailing on the ICW was a bit nerve-wracking as it was tight in some areas, and when you came to drawbridges with the current behind you, you had to put the boat into reverse and try to not weave too much because there were boats all around you. Sometimes you'd have to hover in reverse mode for half an hour or more if you didn't time the bridges right or they were on request. The first big stop where we felt that we could enjoy the area was St. Augustine. St. Augustine is noted for being the second oldest city in the USA. It has a star fort, and this is the second star fort we visited on our trip, the first being in Acapulco, Mexico. Star forts are all over the world and are known for their distinct star-shaped style. On a tight schedule, we pressed on the ICW to the next destination, Dungeness Ruins on Cumberland Island. We were blown away by this quaint location of the Carnegie Empire and the old oak trees. It's a legacy of the golden era of the USA, and it even dates back further to the American Civil War. On the east side of the island, there are wild horses that roam along the beaches. And around the ruins and the slave quarters, there are absolutely stunning oak trees all around. After the Dungeness Ruins, we pulled anchor and sailed to the infamous Jekyll Island. This is where the banksters of 1913 created the Federal Reserve. It was a resort for the elite to plot out their schemes of ruling the world through the US banking system. Only joking, nothing nefarious here. It's all good. Just keep paying your taxes. Residents of the island included top figures like J.P. Morgan, William Rockefeller, Marshall Field, Joseph Pulitzer, Cornelius Vanderbilt II, Charles Goodyear, and many more. We anchored in the ICW and rented bikes from the marina for $20 and cycled around the island and checked out the cottages that are bigger than most people's homes, the main resort, and the famous petrified trees on the east side of the island. Let's leave it there for now. Thanks for watching and following us along our ICW journey, and stay tuned for more wild adventures with Sailing Discovery Passage.